Quay Arts is the largest and main art centre on the island. We provide gallery education, we provide exhibitions, classes and workshops, over 100 live performances a year, and we also have a lovely cafe. Well, I suppose our mission is to provide art activities and to some extent art education and art experiences for everybody on the island, and also to be a kind of arts beacon, if you like, a creative beacon beyond, because we're a regularly funded organisation for the Arts Council, which means that we stand as a regional art centre. And so we provide things here that people couldn't possibly see anywhere else on the island and may have to travel to London or abroad to find something similar. We get 5% of our money currently from the Isle of Wight Council, about 10% from the Arts Council, and the rest, one way or another, the other 85%, we produce ourselves. We're a registered charity, and we've moved on quite a bit from the first time this place was occupied by artists in about 1974. And over the last 35 years, we've grown into a fairly business-like charity. Overall, we have about 120 to 130,000 people who come in the centre and use us for various things. We've done some analysis in the past about where people come from, and they come equally from all parts of the island. And certainly people who find us when they're visiting will come in, but I don't think we have that many people coming over for events. We certainly attract quite a few people over to the island for the exhibitions, which are on for a longer period, so there's a bit more flexibility. Overall, we put on 36 exhibitions a year at the moment, which is an enormous amount, and as you've probably gathered from looking around the place, there's always things being taken down and put up, and the exhibitions are constantly changing. We also run an artists networking evening every month, which attracts somewhere between 30 and 50 artists. We provide studio space for another 8 artists. We have about between 80 and 100 classes and workshops a year, I would say, and all of those are delivered by practicing professional artists as well. I would say in the work that we do, it's probably 60% of that is focused on visual arts, exhibitions, education, classes and workshops. But we do run over 100 live events a year, which is everything from theatre, literature, drama, and I run a monthly songwriting showcase, Acoustic Originals, which has 6 acts every time, and it's been running for about 2 years, so that's quite a substantial amount. And people who've started off performing there have ended up performing with us at the Isle of Wight Festival. And then we have all sorts of other projects that we're involved in. Working with the Festival, we put on an art tent and provide art activities for everybody who comes to the festival, so artists are involved in the delivery of that. We have an arts team of 11, 12, and we have an overall team of about 35 with people doing cafe and conferencing as well. And as well as that, we have tutors who work at Jubilee, and we have an arts education person, and obviously the finance and marketing that goes alongside people delivering the actual art.
My name is Jacqui Ager, and I'm the Education Officer and Classes and Workshops Manager here at Quay Arts. Well, I'm responsible for getting people into the centre to actively participate in the arts, and that's through our rolling programme of classes and workshops, which often relate to things that we've got on in the galleries, and also to communicate with schools, to try and really encourage schools to come in and use the facilities here. We have fantastic facilities. We've got 3 galleries. It's very inspiring. Feedback we get from teachers and young people themselves are that they do work with us, they do activities with us that they don't do in school. It's much more flexible. They're not hemmed in by GCSE and A-level. They can develop their own work and get inspiration from the really wide variety of artists that we have visiting here and exhibiting. We've been very lucky in the last few years in getting funding from various sources to enable us to run education projects. In particular, there's a funding stream called Inquire, which is part of Engage, which is a membership organisation that supports professionals in the museum and art and gallery sector. And the idea is to encourage young people to come to an appreciation and an understanding of the visual arts. So many people are frightened by contemporary art. They come to a gallery, they just look at what's on in the walls. But if we can get kids, small children up to adults, in here to actively do something in the gallery space, it really dispels that fear And again, feedback we've had from young people is that it encourages them to go to galleries elsewhere. A lot of schools take classes up to London, to the big galleries, and I don't think they appreciate what they've got right on the doorstep. We do get inquiries as well as schools. We also get inquiries and we help businesses with things like team building and just activities of enjoyment for their staff. Probably the connection with the arts isn't always obvious, but it is a really, really good way of getting the creative juices flowing and just having some fun. Being outside the office, seeing people in a different environment, it's terrific. The visual arts we offer here are two-dimensional. There's painting, drawing. We do life drawing classes. We have pottery, we have jewellery, sculpture, portrait painting, just a really, really wide variety. Students are very used to working on, small A3 sketchbooks or smaller scale stuff. What we can offer here is doing big drawing, big painting. We've got large easels, and just being in the gallery space itself, which, as you know, the Michael West Gallery is huge. I think it encourages people to be expansive and to work in a different way. We offer printmaking, pottery, just loads and loads of things that some schools do offer, but I think it's the environment, it's getting them out of their comfort zone, coming here and just becoming more and more aware of what's available in the visual arts. Something that we have here that's is particularly of interest to schools, I think, in education. So we have our own learning curve gallery space, which is what we call a response space. So schools can come in, work on an exhibition in the main gallery and then have an exhibition of their own, which is very good for young people because they get involved in the curation, in the installation process, in the publicity, and then of course they've got a public outcome, so they get comments directly from the public on their work. So I think for Quay Arts it's a real advantage. It's something that a lot of art centres in the South region just don't have, so we are particularly lucky. I think also what we can do is offer young people some kind of guidance and some idea of careers in the arts sector, which again they may not be aware of through school.
The island's an amazingly creative place. Probably the difficulty for me is having teenage kids myself, is that what happens is if you get to 18 and you are aspirational and creative, you have to go somewhere else. Apart, with a notable exception of Platform 1, there aren't any degree courses on the island. Which is probably why we are hugely overrepresented with brilliant island bands and musicians. But what happens to visual artists and designers is that they tend to have to go away to university and then they get the relevant training and academic qualifications, and then they find that it's quite difficult to come back here and start their creative business. But I honestly think that if we provided low-cost space and mentoring and support with creative businesses, we could grow a real hub, because what we have that very few other places have is the quality of life that goes alongside. And with so much work being done through the internet, why wouldn't you do it here?
I moved here 12 years ago from London, and I don't think I'd have moved here if the Arts Centre hadn't been here. But since I've been here with the festival and the best of all, there's a lot of music going on here, and I've noticed a lot of artists move here. There's a lot of young artists work here now. So I think it's becoming a real kind of hotbed for the artistic community.